Hi everyone, this is AJ and welcome back to the channel. Got another episode review for you today of the Child's Play TV series Chucky, episode 4. Let's find out what this episode was about. So I'm going to give you a little story breakdown, and I'll tell you my thoughts on the episode. So this episode begins where the last episode ended. Pretty much. The last episode ended with Lexi having a house party with friends that her parents don't know about. Chucky's there in the house. He attempts to kill Lexi and a fire starts. This episode catches up after the events of this fire. Surviving kids are in hospital. So the first half of this episode is set all within the hospital, and it's all character stuff, very little Chucky. There's no Chucky in the beginning of this episode actually. We find out that, you know, obviously the police are involved. The detective who's investigating the killings, she knows that the boy at the party had been stabbed to death. Loads of children are being treated for smoke inhalation. Lexi, her young daughter, is sort of in a coma, so to speak. Yeah, all this sort of stuff. The main guy, he comes to the young boy, he comes to the hospital to see what's gone on, how everyone is, this sort of thing, which leads to him and Lexi having some screen time together. They decide together to go and look for the doll of Chucky back at the house. They head back to the house where Lexi has an accident. She falls through they confront each other about his wanting to kill her and her bullying him. She falls through the banister. He grabs her. He's holding on to her. Chucky appears down below. Chucky's face, one half is all melted down where he's been burnt. And he's telling the boy to let go of the girl, that, you know, to kill her. She's only about 3 feet off the ground, though, because, about 2 minutes later, when the boy decides not to drop her and pull her back up and tells Chucky he's nothing like Chucky, Chucky's jumping up trying to stab the girl. This is how high off the ground she is. So he's grabbed her. Before he saw Chucky, he could have just let her go. You know, about 3 foot to falls. Anyway, I'm getting away from the story. The Chucky doll, they're interrupted by a detective that's come to the house. He picks up the Chucky doll and takes them all back to the hospital because he's returning the Chucky doll to the girl because the father has asked if they find the doll to bring it back for the little girl, because obviously the little girl likes the doll and the parents don't know that the doll's a killer, which is a bit odd because the doll's all half melted and this sort of thing. So the police detective takes it into her room, where he proceeds to eat some cookies and cakes that have been left there, and Chucky kills him with a load of syringes, constantly stabbing him. First of all, he throws a scalpel into his back, which I quite liked, because when the copper falls back, he actually falls onto the scalpel, pushing it in further, and you don't see that often in films. I always say to myself, when someone's been stabbed, they got a knife sticking out of them in a film, I always think to myself that they never fall onto the knife and push it in further. They always fall to their side. But in this, he actually fell onto it, shoving it into his back further. And that's when Chucky gets a load of these half-used syringes out of this, you know, the yellow disposable boxes where you get rid of medical waste, and starts stabbing him with it. Lexi and the boy, the main boy, I can't remember his name, they're in the hospital as well. Chucky pulls the plug on the little girl's resuscy thing. All the medical staff come rushing in, and the parents and this sort of thing. They plug it back in, and then they discover the body, and you're left with the 3 children, the 3 primary kids, not primary as in primary school, the 3 primary protagonists in the film, in the programme. The bully girl, the main boy, and his potential gay lover. Yeah, anyway, they're stood there, and Chucky gives them the middle finger, and the episode sort of ends there. Yeah, so that's pretty much the episode. Now, I didn't mind this episode. There's not a great deal of Chucky in it, but when he is, it is great. What I liked about it was the when you had the primary boy and Lexi together, on screen. They've actually got pretty good chemistry. They work well off of one another. So their scenes are pretty good, and you see a growth in both characters. In he's coming away from the being used by Chucky, and she's a bit more. You can relate to her a bit more in this episode. You know, her growth makes her a bit more likable to a degree, and you see the coming together of these characters to, at this point now, to take on Chucky. This is the beginnings of that. So that's you know, there was a lot of good character growth in the episode. Stuff with the Chucky doll looks really good. You know, a new look for him with half a melted face down, black and charred and melted, and eye down and mouth down, you know. So yeah, there are some flashback scenes within the episode, again giving you a bit of past around the young Charles Lee Ray. This time he is older than what he was in the last episode, and it's done within like a sort of an orphan house. He's a teenager at this point, but he's leading the other children astray, shall we say, especially one child that he makes a connection with, and Charles Lee Ray ends up killing the janitor of the place. You don't see it, it's done off screen, but one of the other kids is enamoured by him and interested in the body and this sort of thing, you know. It's splattered throughout the episode in about three different cutaway scenes. But yeah, so an enjoyable episode. We're halfway through the series, and at this point now you see, like I said, you see a change in these characters, and the characters that you've come to know them as are now going to be altering somewhat. And the ones, you know, the girl that isn't very likeable, she, like I said, she's becoming more likeable, and this sort of thing's going on. So yeah, pretty good episode. So thumbs up. I did enjoy it, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, next week I'll watch episode 5 and I'll give you my thoughts on that one as well, and a quick story breakdown. Anyway, so Jay, thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Take care. Goodbye.